Hello there, thank you so much for stopping by. It's Terry here with Cloudy Coral Designs, and for today's card, I am sharing a card that I created using the stamp and die of the month for July 2022. So let's get started. So here's a close-up look at the stamp set along with the coordinating dies, and I went ahead and colored the critters in off screen. What I did was I stamped it with a Copic marker friendly ink, and I used my Copic markers to color it in. Along with the stamp and die of the month from Not Too Shabby, I will be using this frame die from Picket Fence Studios. And I love this set because you could cut out the actual frame, and it also comes with the inner pieces as well, so you could cut those separately if you wish. But for this card today, I only used the frame. Okay, so for this card, I went ahead and die cut the frames out twice out of white cardstock, and I used liquid adhesive to layer it on top of one another. I like doing this because it creates dimension onto the card panel. Okay, so after layering that together, let's talk about the background. So for the background, I am going in with white cardstock and a few Distress Oxide inks. So to start off, I went in with Wild Honey, and I'm using my blending brush and blending it to the bottom corner of the cardstock. As you can see here, I like going in with the die cut frame and using that as a reference of how far the blending should go. So after finishing the yellow blended area, I went in with a different shade and started off with another corner. So this corner here, I'm going in with a blue colored ink. This one is a new one from the Distress Oxide line. And again, I like going in with the die cut frame just to give myself a reference of how far the blending should go. And for the last two corners, I went in with a red shade as well as a green shade, making sure to blend the colors in between each one together. After the card panel was nice and blended, I went in with some clean water and spritzed that onto the front of the card panel. Okay, so here's the blended panel along with our die cut frame. And I'm just laying this on top of the card panel just to kind of get an idea of where I want the placement of the color images. Now going in with the colored images, I am just playing around with the layout, trying to figure out which layout is best and which scene I'm trying to create. And once I was happy with that, I went in with liquid adhesive and adhered all of the images down to the card panel, as well as the die cut frame. Okay, so now it's time to snip off all of the hanging images. So I went around with my scissors and just kind of snip off all the excess. Okay, so here for the sentiment. The sentiment on the stamp set is a little large for the area that I want to stamp it on. So I wanted to share a little trick with you guys. So this trick here that I'm doing is I'm masking off a certain area of the sentiment just to make it fit on my card. So here you can see that I'm going in with the sentiment and I'm masking off one word of the sentiment. Just make sure after you ink it, you want to remove the masking paper. Then after removing the masking paper, I went ahead and stamped the first word down onto my card panel. Now I'm going in with the second sentiment and I'm stamping that on the bottom of the first sentiment. I like using this trick or this technique because it stretches out your supply. So if you feel like, oh man, this sentiment's not going to fit on my cardstock or my card panel, then you can always try to manipulate your stamps or your supplies. I love doing this because it just stretches out your supplies. Always remember to remove the masking paper after you ink the sentiment or the stamped area, because I've had mistakes happen where I forgot to do that and I had to redo the entire card panel. Okay, so now going in with the little snowflake stamp, I went in with my acrylic block and a white ink pad, and I stamped that throughout the card panel. And of course, for a little extra details, I went in with my white gel pen and added highlights and details throughout the card panel. You really don't have to do this step, but I like to do it because it gives some interest to the card panel. Okay, and after that was completed, I adhered it onto a side folding card base. I like using pre-cut card bases, and this one here I have is from Photoplay. I like it because it comes pre-cut, pre-scored, and all that you have to do is reinforce the score line. Okay, and that pretty much completes the card. I hope you found this tutorial useful, and please don't forget to thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. And I would love it if you came on over to my channel or my Instagram at Cloudy Coral Designs. Okay, until next time, have a beautiful day. Bye bye.